Welcome to Command West, a Commanders podcast where we tackle the latest Washington football team news and answer the hard-hitting questions like, how do you defend this defense? My name is Bradley Roach.
I'm Tico Wells. Just getting ready to pull out my Redskins.
Nice.
I'm Eddie Passarelli.
And I'm Donnie Roach. Let's jump right into this game. If we can
You
call it a
guys must
game.
be related.
There's a bit of a relationship here. Can you tell?
Yeah. So we lost the game. We lost the game, guys.
We lost
40-20.
We didn't just lose. We got stepped on. We got blown out. We were embarrassed. That's how I felt. We were embarrassed. I was angrier at this game than I was at any of the previous losses, including
Yeah, I didn't get to watch with you guys. And
yeah, none of us watched.
None of us
this
watched
time.
together, yeah.
so we were all sort of in different places. And I remember pacing around the room going, why am I screaming at the TV? It's not going to help. They're not doing it today.
It was funny because I invited some friends over to watch the game, and I had gotten off work a little later. So I was like, I started the game on my phone at work, and I got home at halftime, and there were people at my house, and I'm sitting in my car, banging on the thing, just like getting out all my frustration so that I could walk into my home where there's people there and be like,
You got to be civil.
a real person, and not like a demon screaming, which it didn't help much because I walked in and yelled a little bit more after halftime.
I was lucky. I was nobody was home. My wife wasn't home, but the dog, I think I freaked the dog out a little bit. She was looking at me like, what the heck is going on? Because I was yelling and screaming way more than I normally do.
So what do you think what was the biggest frustration with this game? I want to hear from everybody. What was like the biggest? I mean, you can say multiple things too, because I have multiple things, but I do have one thing that I want to share that was like the biggest thing for me. But I want to hear from you guys first.
Well, go for it. You it's your question. You got it.
Okay.
Rock it.
For me, it's obviously we can talk about the coaching, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the coaching in the games. Jack Del Rio, I feel like, has been pretty bad this year, situationally with his blitzes. I mean, like you watch some of his blitzes and he's blitzing a safety coming from 20 yards. And I'm just like, he gets the line of scrimmage after they pass the ball. It's like, what is I just don't get the safety blitz from 20 yards out,
Right.
And there's other things that are it's rough, right? But I think my biggest frustration that, again, winning is the best deodorant. And I would even say playing well or playing, our offense performing and keeping us in games is the best deodorant because it's masking some of the biggest problems. But it's frustrating to me when we have Cody Barton on the field who, bless his heart, is playing, fine for him. He's not a good player.
Yeah.
We have an O-line that is maybe even overperforming from what they were expected. I would probably say not, but none of those guys are, Sam Cosmi may be the only player on that O-line that is like a name worth talking about.
Mm-hmm.
The other, four guys are, some kind of, they're fine and they're not, and right now they're not good,
Mm-hmm.
but like, and then, we go out and we see our draft picks this year, and, we have Emmanuel Forbes, who is our first round pick. He is the only player that has played this season. And all of our other draft picks, there's a couple who have been playing.
You mean rookies? You're talking about rookies?
Yeah, draft picks. Yeah, rookies. And I just, we have our second round pick, who's a safety, who's the fourth safety on the depth chart. And it's like, why wouldn't we have drafted a player in the second round that could play this year, who could actually help, which actually that we'll talk about that later because we had two safeties go down this week.
Yes.
So he actually will play. So I guess, you could say that Ron
Careful
Rivera
what you wish for.
Yeah, exactly. So, but it's frustrating because I just feel like coaching on the field has been pretty bad this year, but it always is not great. Ron Rivera isn't a great coach. He doesn't put a great staff around him. He hired Eric Bieniemy, which is the first good hire he's had since he's been here. But the overall coaching since Ron has been here hasn't set us up to be successful almost any of the years. You look at all the big offseason signings and you see Carson Wentz, terrible. We see William Jackson III, cut. Mid-season, cut. Actually, he was traded for like a 7th round pick like a year. But I'm just saying that has been so frustrating to me because you see around the league, Buffalo, who gets Stephon Diggs, is like a world beater. You see people trading for Christian McCaffrey has made the Niners so good. And then we also see like the linebacker position is just so dumb, like is so important, it feels like. And we have done a decent job of limiting the linebacker position. But Ron Rivera and Jack Del Rio's are linebackers. They play linebacker. You watch that Niners game and you're like, wow, Fred Warner is amazing. And you don't even need Fred Warner to be amazing. I was just watching the Colts, like a highlight of the Colts linebackers who I couldn't even tell you what their names are, but they're making plays. And Jamin Davis has made plays this year, but Cody Barton has played 100% of the snaps.
Wow.
Well, and maybe that's why he has 8 tackles. You know, he was leading the game in tackles. So that means they're getting past well, you know, Derek Forrest had 7 tackles, and so you don't,
So that's my biggest frustration is not just game coaching because it wasn't a well-coached game, is the entire 5 years that Ron has been here. I feel like there has been some very big mistakes that we have seen draft-wise, off-season-wise, hiring-wise, coaching staff. Because if you fire Jack Del Rio, who's taking his spot? And the next guy up. So that's my biggest frustration.
And we need some stability. But we were gonna. A question came up. How do you defend this defense? And are you offended by the offense? Donnie, what you got to say about
okay, I'm glad you asked, and I'll answer that question and kind of Bradley's question at the same time. I'm not offended by the offense. I know the offense is still a work in progress, and you know, Bradley and I talked about it earlier. Maybe that's what this year is about, is the development of Sam Howell more than you know, even making it to the playoffs, because that might be out of the question at this point. Not that the season's over. I'm not ready to write it all off, but defending the defense, I don't know that I can do. And yes, it comes down to coaching. And you specifically pointed to in-game coaching. I think as much it's the prep. This team, especially the defense, I'm going to say, was not prepped and ready for this game. Chicago was prepped and ready. Chicago came ready to play. And the biggest frustration for me was just watching the defense get beat play after play. Like they just had their way with our defense.
But that's been this consistent, right? They've been unprepared all year. The Arizona is like the only one that you could say, wow, like the defense really balled out, and like they did.
You know what my opinion is? Can I tell you guys what my opinion is?
Yeah, of course.
You know, if you look on paper, I think I saw Fred Smoot talking about this on his podcast. So I'm not going to be making it like it's my idea, but he made a parallel to San Francisco's defense and offense. We have all the weapons. Everybody's in place. Everybody's a superstar. But specifically about defense, I thought it's important to say each one of these guys has an incredible ability to be a superstar. They also know that they're on camera and they're young boys and they're like all trying to make that big sack and do the big play, but they're not really working cohesively as a team. They're not gelling yet to work more as one organism. They're working as 11 separate guys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's coaching. I put that squarely on the guy because I agree with you. I think there's talent on that defense, and And if you can't pull the talent together, well, you got to look to the leadership.
You know what else is interesting about that, Eddie? And I'm really happy you brought that up, because we kind of expect games like this and maybe games like the Buffalo game from the offense. And I don't even think the offense was terrible today or Thursday,
yeah.
whatever. I don't even think the offense was like terrible. Like they had some bumps and bruises in the first half for sure. But this is the 5th year in this defense. Like a first year defense or a first year offense is gonna have bumps and bruises. That's just how it goes. But we expect those bumps and bruises to be filed out by the 5th year. And to say that, they're not playing cohesively 5 years with most of these players been together, or, multiple years of most of these players being together. That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
That's undefendable.
And
right,
and
Eddie?
that's
I mean,
yeah, I agree. I mean, that's kind of where I was at with it.
yeah.
And it also crosses over into the offense, because the offense is expecting their defense, the opposite polar thing, to protect them, and get them off the field, get the other team off the field so they can get out there and start scoring. And we have the weapons to score. We're showing that we can score.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, I wrote down, we're not as good as we hoped.
Nope.
Defense gives up explosive plays.
Yep.
Secondary is really not impressive so far. They're not impressive.
That's putting it mildly.
The offense can't break away. The offense just can't break away. Even when defense only allows 16 points, we only scored 20. But the statistic that really hurt us Thursday was 29 yards rushing. 29 yards.
Yeah. You know how many times we rushed it? 10. And 4 of those were Sam Howell scrambling for yards. So really 6 times it was a called rush to Brian Robinson. And I get we were behind and we had to throw the ball, but they completely abandoned the run game. Like there was a couple of times where I thought, okay, here's a good time you could hand it off to B-Rob and mix things up a little bit. They kept going down the field. And look, Sam Howell had his 300-yard day. Finally, he got 388 yards. Because he threw the ball 51 times. And I get it when you're playing from behind. That's what tends to happen. But
it's Chicago had 170. We gave up 178 yards rushing
on the ground.
273 passing. That's a lot of total.
They mixed it up.
Right there.
They mixed it up. Also, again, another week where what happened to our screen game? Like when we fell behind, we kept. It seemed like every play was going down the field, and Sam wasn't completely bad at it. I mean, he had through the one interception.
No.
But he actually
was great.
He had a decent game doing that, and I think it could have been better had we mixed up the mixed up the calls a little bit, and Bieniemy's been up and down a little bit. I wasn't impressed with this game.
It's hard. It is hard,
playing from behind.
It is hard from playing from behind, but that's just how we've been playing this year. And it's so pathetic that we keep getting so behind that we have to throw the ball so much.
Yep.
And we got shut out. We got shut out in the first quarter. Shut out. 3 points at halftime. That's not going to work.
No.
It's not going to work.
Yeah, the 3 and outs. How many 3 and outs?
27-3 at halftime.
We didn't even have a first down for.
Well, there was an interception and wasn't the fumble in the first half? Or no, that was the second half, wasn't it? Yeah. Logan Thomas fumbled the ball when it looked like maybe we were starting to try and get some kind of momentum,
get a little something going.
Yeah.
Inopportune turnovers. Can we talk about how bad the special teams has been this year? Like the fact that is something that we need to talk about is ridiculous to me. It's like, I understand that football is hard. Being good at football is hard. Like, that's one thing that I feel like sometimes I forget when I'm watching the game, especially teams where they make it look so easy. It's like just defend the butt tush push.
Right.
it's like how could it be that hard? And it's like, well, they know the snap count. They're bigger. They're, you know what I mean? Like they're all condensed in one spot, you know. But that's, you know, so I acknowledge that football is hard. Our special teams have been terrible. I mean, missed field goals.
Missed a field goal.
But I'm talking about all year. We've missed multiple field goals. We've let like way too many punting run back yards. And we saw Jamison Crowder get like a 10-yard return.
I think he got a 20-yard return, didn't he? It was like so exciting.
It was like 16.
He got a 20-yard. He got a 20-yard.
20 yards, which is
punt return.
Which is great.
Yeah.
That's his only one. His only one.
Fantastic. But
we haven't had 20 yards in 50 years. We haven't had 20 yards in 50 years.
Fucking ridiculous.
Except for DeAndre
Carter. I know.
Carter.
Why did we let him go? That's coaching. He had him up 1 year. He signed to the Chargers for like $1 million. It's like, bro, give him 1.5. This is ridiculous.
Here's one thing. Let's see if this comes into play. And I don't know if I don't want to sound like I'm defending Ron, because look, when that game was over, I came to the same conclusion. I said I'm done with Jack Del Rio, and consequently, I'm done with Ron Rivera too. I don't really care what happens the rest of the season, but they got to go. However, I will say this: in keeping guys and bringing guys to Washington, it hasn't been a culture that people have wanted to come to, and I maybe this is me being optimistic and hoping beyond hope that things have changed, and people now this is in a more inviting environment. It'll be easier to get a good coach here. It'll be easier to get good players here. You know,
and you know what? When you start talking about fan base and stuff like that, I really like that. You know, you're seeing this cohesiveness in the fan base where we're like, okay, we're 2-3. All right, we're getting smacked around. It's all right, but there's almost like an interfaith in the fan base now that they think we might be able to pull something off. We just saw what happened to Dallas. They're no longer the huge threat that everybody thought they were,
right?
Or they're just getting killed by the best team in the league, the San Francisco 49ers, who pretty much are probably not going to lose a game.
You're right, Eddie. But there's no better way to piss off a fan base than do what you did on Thursday. Like, you know, nationally televised game at home, and you embarrass yourself. Well, maybe with Magic Johnson in the stands, you embarrass yourself. That's
what I was sort of hoping to see from the fan base now is this rally to get excited about. Okay, we lost 3 straight. Let's pull it together. How are we going to do
it? But you know what? This year, as quiet as it's been. As it's been, just about every team's got a nice little quarterback. I watched the Falcons and who did the Falcons play? They played
the Texans.
The Texans.
Yeah.
CJ's
for real. CJ Stroud is for real.
CJ Stroud and Ritter. These boys can throw, man. And
that Chicago quarterback that just kicked their butts too.
I was not surprised. Everybody was on his case, man. Everybody was on Justin Fields' case. Chicago has been really bad for a long time. I mean, this was the first win in like 14 games, wasn't it?
Yeah, 14 games. Yeah,
they went 14 straight. I mean, come on. But they've been competitive.
Yeah,
they've been competitive.
They have,
and they. You know, people are using Washington as a sharpening game.
It's their get right game.
Get yourself together, try some new stuff. You know, I'm not so impressed with, like, we won our first game by 4 points. We won our second game by 2 points. Then we lost by 34. Then we lost by 3. We scored 31. Now we lost by 20. So we're scoring 20 is respectable for an offense. 20 is respectable.
Yeah, but
it's not great.
Look what the scores against us. How many points have been being scored against us each week?
It's 40, last week 34, week before that 37, week before that 33, and 16 is the worst. 16 is the worst.
Tico, here's what I'll say about your quarterback point, because I think it's a great point. I think that actually this year is pretty crazy that we're not seeing like a bunch of pretty terrible quarterbacks.
No, not at all.
You know, there have been some bad performances, but here's the difference that I think that other teams do that we just don't is, I mean, the Bears knew what to do against Sam Howell. They blitzed so much. And Sam, I mean, 5 sacks,
Yeah.
you know, but Sam did better than I was anticipating with all that pressure. But like you watch Justin Fields and his terrible games this season, he has been so under pressure and like under fire and like hasn't had the time to survey the field. Any quarterback, any NFL quarterback with enough time will tear you apart. And Justin Fields missed some throws.
He did.
He was not great.
We should have lost by more.
It's crazy. He missed 2 touchdowns, and it's like that again. And I, you know, we can talk about the player's performance here in a bit because I think that some of them were much worse than others. But that's coaching, because to not know that and not to prepare for that, because coming out in the second half, guess how many linemen we had? 5.
Oh.
And we started to put pressure on him, and they fell apart offensively.
Right.
That's when we started to come back. But to put 27 points on the board before halftime and then go, oh, maybe we should speed up his clock a little. Maybe we should put some pressure on Justin Fields because he's a really young quarterback and he's been terrible this year when he has pressure.
And he's playing with tons of confidence.
Yeah.
Right now.
What the fuck is that?
Every quarterback is so confident against our defensive line. Why?
It's ridiculous. Like it's coaching. It's coaching.
And they practice too. I mean, you know,
and they prepared.
DJ,
for
it. did you expect DJ Moore to be running all over the place?
No,
I did not.
But again,
I did not. I wasn't even thinking about it.
He's a great receiver.
He's a great receiver. But he's their one great receiver.
230 yards on us.
I know.
230 yards.
He threw to 3 people.
He did. He threw. I saw the same thing.
How do you not key on key players? Like, how do you? It's Terry McLaurin didn't have he had 3 receptions.
Yeah,
he knew what they were doing. They were like, make sure Terry doesn't get the ball, and we were like, oh, but we have to worry about Darnell Mooney. Like, it's ridiculous. Man.
Make Justin throw it to somebody else, somebody other than DJ. Yeah.
Well, they're getting Antonio Gibson in the game, in the receiving game, which makes a lot of sense. He had 64 yards receiving. Curtis Samuel had 65. Logan Thomas had 77. Terry had 49.
Again, spread it out. He had 13 receivers or something, you know, which I like seeing that.
I like seeing it too.
Is Terry okay yet? How I wonder how he's doing. We haven't had her. He just doesn't feel like something's not 100%. Yeah. Remember, he started off the year with the foot thing going on.
Yep.
It's
Ron
game 5
in the presser.
Yeah,
him and Jonathan Allen have some lingering issues that I think are causing some issues. Just, you know, and it's honestly kind of nice to have this mini bye so early to get these players some extra time to rest.
Yeah.
And we'll see. I don't know. I'm where, you know, after the game, I thought to myself, this could be a burn it to the ground game, but I'm not there yet. I think that this game solidified that Ron and company will be gone this year. But, you know, as with every single year, we're going to lose. We're going to lose to the Falcons, might lose to the Giants, and we might beat Philly and then go on a crazy run where we win
4 in a row. Yeah, right. And then we all start getting excited.
And we're going to choke at the end. And I just want to remind everybody here, Eddie, Tico, Dad, look at me in my eyes. When we go on that winning streak, remember this game. Remember this game. Because we're going to get excited. Oh my God, we're going to the playoffs. Don't.
That's funny. That's funny, Bradley, because I was watching I tuned into RG3's podcast today for the first time.
Oh, wow.
And he talked about his rookie season a little bit. And I think it's called RG3 and the Ones. And that wasn't that, you know, he was talking about how he started out terrible and how CJ Stroud is really not doing bad.
No, he looks really good.
He
And
sure
Sam looks really good, man.
Yeah.
Sam
Look,
looks good.
Sam
For how
had the
long he's
most
been out
passing
there?
yards of any quarterback this weekend.
Really?
And yep. And number 3, only 2 behind him, was Ritter. So
okay.
they both look strong.
So
this
Eddie,
weekend.
last time, last time I asked, is Sam Howell the future? And you were the one that was like, I need to see more. Does this game, how do you feel after this game? I'm gonna check in with you every week and get a Sam meter. An Eddie pass Sam meter.
Well, if I was gonna measure his, performance as an individual quarterback in the game, yeah, he did great, but pass completions, he scrambled well. Sure, he got sacked a lot, but they were blitzing like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to give him credit because of his confidence. Like, he's been sacked how many times this season already? Like 18, 19 times?
No, it's more than that. It's 20. It was 20 last game. So
sacks. He's
got stat man. You got that? You got that at your fingertips?
29. 29.
Really?
He's
29
he's
after
leading.
5 games.
He's probably one of the worst in the league, right?
It is the worst in the league. I think.
Daniel Jones got 28.
Okay. Yeah. He's
So, I don't blame him because I don't really blame him.
Daniel Jones, man. He got more sacks than Daniel. He's been sacked more than Daniel Jones.
That is so
Yeah.
Justin Fields is up there too. He's been sacked 20 times.
How many times did we sack Daniel or Justin Fields though? Like 3 times? Twice?
Maybe?
We got him.
Yeah.
We got him 3 times. We got him 3 times.
And that is just it's just pathetic, man.
Right.
It's
So
pathetic.
So,
It really is.
so back to what I think about him
sorry.
as a quarterback. No, that's good flavor. That gives us all the good comments. I like that. You know me though. Sometimes I lose my train.
I know. We're back to the Eddie pass Sam meter.
Right, and I think right now, I think if you couldn't ask more of a rookie.
Yeah.
You couldn't ask more of a guy who's getting hit a lot.
Yeah.
He's probably taking multiple ice baths.
Yes.
Okay. He's probably not a druggy kind of guy, so he's not pumping up all the painkillers. He's doing it right with rehab.
Yep.
And this poor guy's mind is probably going crazy too, because he's like, oh my God, am I going to get kicked out off the team? Got new ownership. What am I going to do? Where am I going? I'm not proving myself. I got sacked this many times. So he handles it well in the media.
He does.
I think he's, if I could say, if someone asked me, do I think he's the future of the team? No, just because of the ownership. I think the ownership always like to come in. They like to clean house. I hate to say it.
Well, I think he could be. I mean, the boy has a nice rocket. He's got a nice arm, but
he throws the ball well too.
You know how you guys used to say Heineke had that little thing missing? Like Heineke was only missing that one little thing. The only thing I think that maybe Sam is missing is experience, and that's it. And that's a great thing to only be missing that.
I think
now, here's I'm
sorry.
you go first. You remember Shannon and Skip.
That's a great.
I know you like this QBR thing. But well, listen, I tell you, he's got it. And Justin Fields had 77.5 QBR, and to Sam Howell's 46.6 QBR means a lot. Okay, Skip.
So Eddie, this is what me and my dad were talking about, because I think it's a good point that you bring up, because ownership does like to, they like to bring in their own guys. And I think that what's important to me this season is I do believe in Sam, and I think I definitely want to see more, to your point, but I think that it's important that we keep our core guys together with this new regime, that they can be coached and they can make their progress. And I think Sam is a part of that. So I want to make sure that he doesn't lose that. Hey, I'm going to I'm going to be out of a job at the end of the season. But because he feels confident in his performance this season, even though the O-line's a dumpster fire and the defense sucks.
Well, Bradley, that's a good point. But I think one thing we do need is some stability. if somebody, I'll pull it up or later, somebody else pull it up, to go through this quarterback carousel that Washington has been through is too much. You gotta stabilize the quarterback position, if nothing else.
Yes.
So far, I think Sam
he's got everything he needs.
He can do it. I think he can do it.
That we could at least groom him as, and then
we could build around
comes in as a superstar in another first-round draft pick that we pick up because we go 3 and we go 3-14.
We're gonna be middle of the pack this year.
I don't want to be Eddie Pessimistelli, but you guys are being way too optimistic about this run that you think you're gonna make.
But it's
what about that? What about that kid Herbert?
What about that kid?
Khalil or Justin?
Yeah. No, not Justin Herbert.
No.
Khalil.
We played Chicago. Khalil Herbert. Khalil Herbert.
He's good.
It seemed like he got a lot more yards, but his 76 was strong.
Yeah.
His 76 yards on 10 carries was strong.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a bull.
I just don't think that stats against the Washington defense really matter that much.
It does, because it's stats always matter, because when you look at stats, when you go, okay, Justin Fields had 4 touchdowns, 3 sacks, no interceptions.
And do you
That's
think
some good stats?
He's gonna have that against whoever?
That's 28 points. That's 28 points.
I'm just asking. Do you think he's gonna have that against whoever he plays next?
Well,
I don't think so. I don't even have to know who he plays next to say he's not gonna do that against them, because our defense is that bad, Tico. We make everybody else look good. That's why I'm saying stats don't matter against our team.
All right.
Yeah. It's a measuring stick of how poorly we're doing.
Yeah.
And people who are doing bad always seem to do good against Washington.
That's right. That's right.
I'm not claiming that anymore. I'm not claiming it.
Russell Wilson has looked like one of the worst quarterbacks in the league this year. In the first half against us, he looked back
like a
to Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
All the announcers were like, he's back.
I know.
Look, we tend to play better. We tend to play better against better teams. It's like
what about the Bills, man?
Buffalo, except for Buffalo.
I'm talking about
that just killed your theory. I'm sorry, that killed your theory. That killed
it is. I think what Eddie's trying to say is
clean it up for him, Bradley.
We played down to our competition.
Yeah, we played down.
I don't think we're high enough to play down.
We're
giving ourselves all this. We're not that high to play down.
Wait a minute. We beat. I know we beat Philly once before, and it was sort of
that was last year.
It was last year, and it was with Sam in his first game or second game or whatever.
No, that was Sam beat Dallas. We beat Philly with Heineke.
Right. Yeah. With Heineke, we beat him. Okay, so how did we beat him? I remember that game. We beat him on the ground.
Ball control.
Okay, so why can't
and turnovers?
All right, there's got to be reasons with the matchups. But I still think that
we played them well. We played them well. Don't you think?
I mean, turnovers was supposed to be the focus this year. I don't think we maybe in one game we won the turnover battle. Have we won a turnover battle yet? I don't know.
Denver. I think that we are a team that is the last team that makes it into the playoffs. That's the talent that we have. Okay. That's the talent we have.
We're not far behind Dallas.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Talent-wise, we're way better than what we're putting on the field. And I'm not gonna sit here and say like talent. Well, what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that talent-wise, we're better than we're playing, but that doesn't matter. That's what I'm trying to say. The talent you have on the field doesn't matter, because look at Brian Dable with the Giants last year. The Giants had one of the worst rosters in football, and they won a playoff game.
Right.
So it doesn't matter. I mean, there's so many factors that go into being a good football team, and we have a couple of those factors, and we are desperately in need of the other.
We're not very
so
good
you're going full circle back to coaching? Is that what you? Is that?
That's
the
my
point
whole
you're making?
point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Podcast is our coaching is terrible.
Listen,
anybody? Yeah.
I was going to say maybe it's time to move on. Do we have anything else we want to recap? I feel like we've recapped this game into the ground and
draft picks. We
stomped on it and
this consistency of the 4
burial ground for it.
It's not fun to watch.
6 feet.
And we all, Donnie, you said we all picked. You let us know early that we all picked.
We all picked this one to win. So
yeah,
we all got that wrong.
Well,
but like I said too, I'm sticking to this. we have no gimme games. This is we have there's no gimme games for us.
No. There's I mean, not only no gimme games, like any team out there now, you look at the teams.
There's always a good enough player on every team, and to match up in certain ways. It's all about the matchups, I always think.
No,
and sometimes it comes down to coaching, but
so
all these players are talented enough to compete with each other.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay. So we got Atlanta next.
I was going to say, what's commanding our attention? You're on to the next game. Is there anything anything else? Just a quick segment on commanding our attention. Anything commanding your attention that we want to talk about before we move on to next game?
Yeah. How about Dallas?
Yeah, let's talk about Dallas. I like it.
I want to know why. Okay, so remember the beginning of the season, the first 2 or 3 games, everybody's like, "Oh my God, Dallas is
so hot on Dallas." Yeah.
Now, how do you think everybody feels?
Well, first of all, let's give some credit to San Francisco.
Yeah,
they're a freaking great team. Like they're really great.
Brock Purdy is underpaid already.
Yeah.
Brock Purdy's underpaid. He's a bad mofo, man.
I think what got established in Dallas taking that kind of a beatdown is that it kind of established Philly's position. It solidified Philly's position in the NFC East. Like they are the shit, and they're the team to beat. I mean, well, look, not just NFC East. In the NFC, it's Philly and it's San Francisco, and probably whichever one of those teams goes to the Super Bowl ends up winning it if things stay the way they're going. Granted, somebody could get injured, things can change during the season. But
so you're seeing Dallas as a non-factor like we are.
They'll probably go to the playoffs, but they'll probably lose early again.
Yeah, I think that Dallas is a good team. I think their defense has been fantastic. I think that Dak is struggling. I think their offense is struggling. But I think that their defense is so good. But San Francisco, it has the best coach in the league. And I mean, Andy, I know it's hard because there's some great coaches, Andy Reid in particular, Bill Belichick, obviously. But Kyle Shanahan has put together an offense that is so hard to stop, even with the best defensive player on the team. In the NFC. Well, I don't know. One of the best defensive players in the NFL. Michael Parsons didn't do anything in that game.
I know.
And that is not a Michael Parsons thing.
Completely stymied. Yeah.
It's just you see these coaches just playing chess, and then you look at our staff, and I go, they're not even playing checkers. They're playing like the put the block on the other block. They're like the triangle.
You saw that? I sent you that thing of Rivera saying, "I'm like, he stole my line."
It's crazy, like the just the difference in these games.
Strategic approach to the game.
I think that the Cowboys are good. I just think that their defense is elite and their offense is fine.
Average.
Yeah.
We're not thinking enough moves ahead is like the chess move thing. I feel like everybody else plays it in such a way where they're like, when they go into the locker room at halftime, they come back and they're like, they know exactly what to do, or they already did it in the first half, and then we're the ones scrambling to figure out what to do, and we never solve it.
Yeah.
I don't know why we can't solve it.
Yeah.
How come we never?
Yeah.
Coaching,
let's all make sure we keep in mind: new offensive coordinator, new owner, new quarterback. A lot of young guys on the front line.
Yeah.
Secondary is young. The secondary is young. And we don't have who's the dog? Who's the dog on our defense? I think sometimes Deron Payne, and I think Chase can be that dog. It's been
Montez Sweat can be the dog.
Sweat. But in that defensive backfield, who do you feel like is like the Brian Dawkins guy, the Deion Sanders guy?
We don't have
that guy who's that big leader out there. It's not Kendall Fuller.
No,
it's not Kendall
Fuller's getting beaten, and he doesn't have the confidence, so he doesn't bring it back to the huddle.
Kendall Fuller has been very good for us this season. I'm gonna give him credit.
He's steady. Kendall Fuller's steady.
Very steady, but he's not a dog. He's
not a dog. I wouldn't call him a dog.
No,
he's not a dog.
100%. I mean, Cam Curl was that guy last year and the year before. He has not been playing great at all. And Percy Butler straight up sucks. I'm sorry. I'm like, he is consistently gotten like big plays every single game this season. He has been beat for a big touchdown.
Do you think it's because he's going for? It looks like he's always going for the quick pickoff because he wants to do something like the showboat thing. You know, it's like
he's just always out of position, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's
Percy Butler has been just terrible for us.
I haven't really followed him that much.
He's the third safety, so we got Cam Curl, Derek Forrest, and Percy Butler. But when
Derek Forrest is out on IR.
He moves up a slot. Yeah.
So he moves up a slot, but he's been playing in that 3 safety look that we play a lot, and he's the guy back a lot of times, and he just always is getting beat. It's pathetic. And now he's gonna be in the Derek Forrest position, which I'm very nervous for.
So usually, what are they doing? Kendall Fuller, Cameron Curl, Percy Butler, St. Juice, and Forbes when they have that five backfield package. Is that what it's been?
Same again.
Forbes, St. Juice, Butler, Curl, and Fuller. No,
usually it's Forrest. So it'll be
because Forrest is out now. Forrest usually
now
Butler.
That's what it'll be now. But sometimes we'll run 3 safeties and 2 DBs, or no, sorry, 3 safeties and 2 DBs. So we'll do the 5, and we'll take Forbes out.
Did Jeremy Reeves, is he the one that got hurt too?
Yeah.
So he's on IR.
Yeah, both of them are.
I don't know much about Terrell Burgess.
So I guess that's a commanding attention thing that we had 2 big injuries that happened this game.
Mm-hmm.
We have a fractured shoulder from Derek Forrest, our starting strong safety.
He's free safety.
Free safety. My apologies. And we had Jeremy Reeves, who is our All-Pro Pro Bowler, special teams guy last year, who went out with a partial ACL tear.
Oh my God!
And they both we don't know if they're out for the season. They're both going to be placed on IR. And
that's 6 weeks, right?
No, it's 4.
Oh, 4. Okay.
But but there's a long-term and a short-term IR. So Ron was saying he doesn't know which one they're going to go on yet. But also the 2 guys that were on IR, Fedarian Mathis and Efe Obada, who Fedarian Mathis was a 2nd-round pick 2 years ago. He's a D tackle, and Efe Obada is a D end. Have been eligible to come back, and I haven't heard anything about them. And it's like we have a 2nd-round pick that has played one quarter in Fedarian Mathis. Like, what the heck is happening?
What's Fedarian Mathis? What's his position?
He's a right D tackle.
Okay.
Behind Jonathan Allen and. What do you has Chase Young? Is he? I didn't feel his presence that much. A little bit. Couple plays I felt his presence.
You know what's crazy about Chase Young is he actually is I think 2nd or 3rd. He leads the or like is up there in the league of pressures of win percentage on his pressures, which I thought was very fascinating.
What does that mean, win percentage?
It means he beats his guy. He beats the tackle. But to Eddie's point that not all of those are productive wins.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. He can win all the way around, and they
got right somewhere else.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right.
But they go to
win it.
Exactly. Yeah. So Eddie, to Eddie's point, I feel like Chase Young is the one who is winning. He's going after the ball. He wants to make the sack. Yet he is the one leaving the D line vulnerable by going out of position so far.
Yeah.
I think they had a lot of success as being sort of responsive to reactionary type things. Like they know how to read an offense, so they try to make a play, and then they run out of position, and next thing you know, there's a huge hole, and they just got beat.
Right.
Okay.
Well, the good news is we do have Cody Barton and Cam Curl in the top 20.
Cody Barton isn't.
It's bad news that we have Cody Barton on the roster.
Okay. Sorry.
He's a fair. You know what? He's a fair player. He's fair.
Yes.
Fair.
And I'm not gonna kill Cody Barton for the way he's playing because that's not fair to him.
Will Compton, he's Will Compton to me.
He's worse than Will. He's worse than Will Compton.
Will Compton had a little swagger to him.
Yeah, and Will Compton he's a bad man. You know, like
he's doing his podcast now. Is he even in the league? Is he even in the league anymore? You know, but we need a Ray Lewis.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I guess everybody
would like a Ray Lewis.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna kill Cody Barton for how he's playing.
No, don't kill him.
That's fair to him. That's unfair. I'm gonna kill the coaching staff for putting him on the roster and not. That's that. I mean, that might be worse, Tico. That might be meaner, but it's true. We didn't.
Well, I'll say this. When he got on the team, I kind of knew who he was from Seattle.
No, everybody knows who he is.
Yeah.
My buddy's a Seattle fan, and he comes over to watch the games, and he goes, "Oh my God, I can't believe you have Cody Barton starting." I was like, "Yeah, man."
Wow. So that's harsh.
Yeah. So I think we got enough players on the D line. We got to get our linebackers to another level, and we got to get the secondary gelling.
Yeah. Okay, so that brings us to
year.
Yeah.
It sounds like you're starting to look forward a little bit.
Yeah, let's look forward to the next.
Let's look forward to the next game. Atlanta.
Yeah.
Ritter. Is that the dude's name?
Ritter. It had his first
you at one time, Bradley, said if Ritter starts, we beat Atlanta. Yeah. If he doesn't start, we lose to Heineke.
He's way better than Heineke. Now. He's way better than Heineke.
I don't know.
Bradley,
Heineke
right?
playing us would.
After seeing him, come
Ritter
on.
Is
After
better.
seeing, no question, he's way better.
Hold on. Objectively, Ritter is better than Heineke.
No question.
Playing us, I would be scared. Revenge game for Heineke. Heineke loves his revenge, man.
Do you think he's a little bitter for being let go?
Is he seeking revenge? I feel like he has good memories here.
I think he's too soft. He's too nice. He's too nice.
Cousins, when he came here, was a revenge game, and he had good memories of this.
He does have good memories, yeah.
Heineke's
okay.
Nice.
So what's our biggest concerns here with Atlanta?
It's funny.
Ritter.
Here's the funny thing,
going deep,
and I think this is a great point
going everywhere
because up until last week, 2 weeks ago, Justin Fields looked horrible, and then he played the Denver game and he looked pretty good, and we're like, oh shit! Right before he plays us, okay, he's looking better. Ritter has looked terrible up until last week, where it was like, oh shit, he's starting to look good right before he plays us.
Right.
See him and CJ Stroud were going at it. Stroud. Is it Stroud? Stroud. Him and CJ Stroud were going at it, man. They were going at it.
I think that
CJ's pretty good too. Do we play Texans?
No.
Do we play the Texans?
CJ looks good. Okay, I'm gonna jump right into it with my commandment because I think it's
time for that. It's time for the commandments.
We need to go into what we're talking about.
The 4 commandments. We need echoey sound.
The 4 commandments.
Yeah, we do. But let's introduce this what do we say? This section of our podcast called the 4 commandments, where we look ahead to the next game and we say the 4 things from one from each of us that we think that we need to do to win this game.
The keys to the game. Okay.
I'm gonna start with my commandment of I want to see
somebody wrote out DEBT. Was that you, Donnie, on purpose?
Yeah, that's where you're supposed to fill in your commandments.
Debt? You were trying to spell out debt? Are we in debt?
No, I was not trying to spell out debt. But that would be funny. We put all of our initials together and it comes out as debt.
Yeah, we're in debt to the world.
We're definitely in debt. Right now.
Wait, guys, can I just interrupt before we do the 4 commandments? I have something. I think it was a commanding attention thing, and I had it in my brain and I lost it, but now I remembered.
Okay.
Let's hear it.
And it has a lot to do with our loss on the last game.
Okay.
Chicago. And that's that we talked about the power of the linebacker. And we're going to say goodbye to Dit Butkus. Passed away. And I think his ghost was there on the field, and that's why they beat us.
I got to tell you, when I heard that news,
I forgot about that.
I thought to myself, I mean, God bless Dick Butkus, incredible player. But my thought was, that's terrible timing.
Too.
That is terrible timing. Right before
man.
we played Chicago.
We got our butt kicks by the Butkus.
Why can't he wait one more day? Come on, man.
One more day, man. He had to come and show out on
Jeez.
us.
He woke up. He heard like.
God, I'm so glad you brought that up, Eddie, because it was
so glad you brought that up.
Now that explains everything.
It's funny though that where our brains go when we hear news like that.
Yeah, right.
Because I'm not gonna say I'm above anybody because I felt the same way. But I'm also bring this up. I'm so actually never mind. Yeah, Dick Butkus. Screw up.
You can't say it.
No, I was gonna say. All right, here's what I was gonna say. When I never root for injuries. Never.
Right.
Never.
Yeah.
When there's an injury that happens and we're going to play that team, part of my brain goes, well,
yeah, maybe as long as he's out for 2 or 3 more weeks, we'll be in good shape.
Right.
No, that's what
I go there with my daughter all the time. I say, you see that guy right now? The one that's taking off on the cart? He was going to play us next week, but now he's not.
Well, maybe this will be known as the butt kiss game because we got our butts kicked.
It's
right. That's what I said.
Sure
butt kissing.
Yeah. Okay, Bradley, did you go?
Okay, sorry. Yeah. So my commanding attention is I want to see. Now I'm going to say it and then I'll preface it.
Not commanding attention. This is your command.
No, this is my commandment. This is my fourth. My first. The first of the four commandment.
You
said commanding.
I went back.
It's all good. I'm glad we talked about butt kiss. I want to see Desmond Ridder beat us this week. I want to see him do the work. I want to see our coaching staff limit Bijan Robinson, who's the Atlanta Falcons rookie running back, who has been spectacular all year, and Tyler Algier, who is their other running back, who is also very good. I want to see our staff limit their production because I think that even though Desmond Ridder had a fantastic game last week, that I think that he is still a very young quarterback and very prone to making mistakes. And if we take the running game out of the equation, I don't think that he has as big of a chance of beating us if he doesn't have a run game to rely on. So in the thou shall not let the running game beat us. Atlanta's running game beat us. Thou shalt not let Atlanta's running game beat us. Gotta. I still messed that up. Yeah.
We'll fix
that's
it
my
production.
Yeah.
That was easy for you to say.
Yeah. Okay. Shall I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I'm going to change it. I know I put something on here earlier, but in our discussion, I'm going to change it. This is too. First of all, what I had it's been treaded on week after week. Thou shalt not fall behind early. Like that, I just, in talking about this game and looking back on all the games that we fell behind, Philadelphia was the only game we didn't fall behind early. We got the early lead. We lost the game. Every week we fall behind early and we're trying to dig ourselves out of a hole. And a couple times we were successful, but that's just putting too much pressure on the offense and the whole team. So thou shalt not fall behind early. That's my commandment.
Right, Eddie.
You know what? I kind of have to go back to my last week's one, which was thou shalt not fall into what did I say?
You said
thou shalt not lose to the Bears.
Thou shalt not lose to the Bears.
Thou shalt not lose to the 0-4 Bears.
Yeah.
It came down to the, was it complacency or was it really just the time? So mine is thou shalt not be complacent about any team going into any game.
Yeah.
In fact, I feel better. Most of the time I feel better when everybody on TV and on radio and on podcasts says that we have no chance.
Yeah.
Then it makes us feel like we are the hungry team. Like Chicago was the hungry team.
Right.
So thou shalt not get complacent with anyone.
Yeah.
Good.
Ever.
Good.
Yeah, I think I had thou shalt win again.
Thou shalt win again. That's good.
It is the will of man.
That is short and simple. That is direct and to the point.
I want to say something real quick before we wrap up about.
I have something else to say too.
Your commandment, Dad, because I think it's a good point that I just thought of about getting behind and talking about how we ran 10 times. We had 6 running back runs.
Yeah.
And we had 51 pass attempts. When we fall behind, we lose one of our best players in Brian Robinson. Like, you don't think about that, but when we have to pass the ball the whole game, we lose Brian Robinson, which commanding attention just had an awesome documentary come out about his comeback story called The Warrior. Go check it out. It's really, really good. It almost made me cry multiple times. But when we have to pass and we're trying to come from behind, we lose him. And he's one of our best players. And that's sad. It's honestly sad. I feel bad for him.
Yeah.
Because,
it's unfair to him.
Not just because everybody, we need to keep a running game to, like, keep the passing game alive and, blah, 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 all the other stuff. We just lose a player when we have to do that.
We lose the balance.
If this is any consolation, he did have 33 yards receiving. So he becomes another receiver.
Yeah.
And we just have not had real strong running games. And, playing from behind, the enemy's got to make a decision. How do we get in? How do we get back? And this is a passing league. This is no longer the quote unquote well-balanced league anymore. Those days are over. Those days are over.
I don't completely agree with that. I still say you need to run to open up the pass. And I think we overdid it on the passing game. Even when those runs only pick up a couple of yards, it kind of keeps those linemen honest.
But also,
the problem, Donnie, is it's a time zapper. The time that it takes to run and get back setting up takes longer than throwing 20 yards. It's quicker to throw 20 yards than to run 20 yards.
But when it's the third quarter and
that sounded good.
We scored on our first drive. We came back. It was 27-10. You got a quarter and a half at least left. You don't have to abandon the running game completely.
But we also, again,
27-14.
I want to harp on this a little bit. Is Brian Robinson has been really good this year.
Yeah,
like he's had,
but not really, Bradley. Come on, nobody's talking in the league about Brian Robinson on any of the sports shows.
I am actually going to.
They don't talk about us at all, really.
I'm going to completely disagree with you. There hasn't been a game where Brian Robinson has been like, "Oh, he was bad this game."
No, it's not that he's bad, but
he's just not getting a lot of carries.
So that's why they're not talking about him.
Yeah. I don't care who's talking. I don't care about Skip Bayless talking about Brian Robinson. I don't give a shit what he says. He's been, even in this game, he had explosive runs. He's been mauling guys. That's what he does.
Man, right? Dude, he averaged 1.7 yards a carry this game.
And that doesn't
1.7.
That doesn't matter.
1.7.
He also rushed
1.7.
6 times.
1.7.
David, Akchan is like a home run hitter. That's not
1.
what we have in
1.7.
I'm about to mute your mic.
David Akchan is running.
Come on, man. We haven't been a good running team in a while.
As much as the whole year we didn't.
Yeah, we just talked about how we beat Philly. What was the conclusion on the ground? Brian Robinson is a weapon. He hasn't. We haven't had the ability to take advantage of him this year, but he is a weapon.
He is a weapon.
Yeah,
you got to fire him.
Yeah,
that's my point.
Not fire him. Fire him.
Not fire him. Fire him. You got to fire the weapon.
Take him out of the
fire the weapon. That's my point, though. I'm not saying that he's been putting up numbers. He's not. I'm saying he's a great player, and we're not utilizing him as much as we should, and we lose him when we have to pass 55 times.
I can't say he's a great player. I didn't see him that much at Alabama. I know he did great at Alabama, but he's strong. He's not the fastest. I like the way he runs. I like his attitude. I like him as a player. The way we're playing right now, getting behind, having trouble holding on to a lead. Sometimes the offense will do something good, then the defense, 2 or 3 plays later, the other team's in the end zone.
Yeah.
So it's hard to establish a run game when the clock is ticking down. We can't afford to do everything in the fourth quarter. We're not that good at teams to be doing that.
Right.
So I think for us, our passing game will open up our running game. I think we've got better passing game than we do running game.
But we can do the little dip and dunks around. I noticed we did a little bit more of that.
I'm with you on that too,
Eddie. It was
Eddie.
effective, but it was obviously too little, too late because you're only chipping away at yardage to move down the field because you can't run 5 yards.
They used to say when we would do the screens and the flares and stuff, Ron would say, we see that as an extension of the run game. And I think that's a good way to use it, those little.
Especially when you got to get a guy like Gibson. He tends to hold on to it better when he takes a pass than he does when he takes it from center or from handoff.
Very
true. Listen to these numbers. Jahan Dodson averaged 10 yards per catch. Brian Robinson, 8.3 yards per catch. McLaurin, 12.3 yards per catch. Antonio Gibson, 16 yards per catch. Curtis, 10 yards per catch, 10.8. Logan Thomas, 8.6.
Okay, but
if our identity, we don't know our identity yet, but if that's going to become our identity, maybe that's the way that we open up the run game.
Okay.
Use your strength.
I don't think that wasn't my point that I was arguing though, Tico. I'm actually, I think we're more on the same page than you think, because I think what I'm trying to say is we're not using Brian Robinson to the ability that he can be productive.
And also think about this. I hear you. Yeah. Our offensive line is not opening up gaping holes. Every time he runs through, it's like he's got to hit a Mack truck and run it over.
True, although
drag 4 people.
Although they're better, I think they're better in the run than they are in the pass.
They are in the pass. I think that that's actually, they are opening. I mean,
but is that a consolation? Is that a consolation?
Look,
the lesser
the O-line is in serious little trouble. The trenches are bad for us right now.
We're not great on the O-line yet. No. That's going to take some. I don't know what it's going to take. It may take another season. It may take some more games for them to gel together.
Some different coaching.
Okay.
Yeah, and they got to practice. This is game. This is coming up on Game 6.
Game 6 this weekend, Atlanta.
Game 6. So this will be a good test for us. This will be a good test.
Before we wrap it up, I just got one thing I want to say. I'm lucky that I get to do a podcast once a week with my own son. Obviously, my 2 buddies as well, but my own son. So I'm going to take the opportunity to do a little acknowledgement here. Tomorrow marks 3 years of sobriety for my boy Bradley over there. And I just want to say, well done, Bradley. Well done. Keep that up.
Thank you.
Keep that up.
Nicely done.
And with that, if you want to take us out, Bradley.
Well, thanks.
Wait a minute. Hold up.
Oh, shit. We didn't talk about Colorado. How did we get through a whole show?
Yeah, now. Come on.
Okay, that's it. We just talked about hot Colorado. We can sign off now.
Okay. Feel it now.
Well, thanks for that acknowledgement, and thank you, Tico. We missed the Colorado talk. I'm glad we got it in, because we got to talk about it every week. We got to. But thank you so much, folks, for tuning in to this week of Command West. We hope that you had just as much fun listening as we had, bringing you the latest and greatest on the Burgundy and Gold. Please don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like us, and tune in next week.
Woohoo! Oh, and give us your comments. Let us know what you think. You can put your own comments in the comments.
And guess what? Jacksonville got revenge for us on Buffalo.
Yeah. Oh, and one more thing, guys. Off topic. Prayers for everyone in Israel and in Israel and everyone over there who's had children, and it's a mess. So let's pray for those people over there.
Prayers.
Pray to end the violence.
Sending love.
Stop the violence. Stop the violence. I hope we as humans can learn that one day.
Doubtful.
All right. We're out.
All right.
Goodbye, everyone.
Peace, y'all.
Thank you.
Peace and love.